I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Cynthia, and I'm the host of the reality series CPS Horror Stories. I'm not an attorney or a social worker, just a mom who lost her kids. And I did get my kids back after fighting for 2 years. But the reason that I do this show is to just shed light on the truth, the traumatic events, the destruction and corruption that is all behind Child Protective Services. It's not about protecting kids anymore, but it's about the dollar. And they attack families, they coerce them into agreeing and doing things, jumping through these special hoops to get their children back when the whole time their agenda is
not to give
selling our kids.
Yeah.
So, Brandi, can you tell me about yourself?
Well, I'm a 33-year-old mother of 2.
So cute.
But that was a year ago, a little over a year ago. I've had quarterly visits for a year that I haven't been getting for a year.
So who told on your grandfather?
Yeah, I told. Investigators got called out to the house. They came, asked a few questions to me and my little brother. Right then, we were taken out of the house and put in foster care. My grandma fought for custody back of my little brother, but I stayed in foster care because I was acting out because.
Okay, so let's go. Oh, we're all ready now. So let's go back to where you said that you were sexually harassed as a child. You went and told. CPS got involved and put you in foster care, even though your younger siblings, right? Yeah, they were younger brothers, were able to get out and go back with the grandma, which is who had custody of you. Correct? Did I hear all that right? You didn't get to come out until you were 18.
My paternal. Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of where we left off.
Okay. Well, I find myself out at 18. And right before I turned 19, I met my soon to be ex-husband, who was very, very, very abusive. Actually just recently left him a couple years ago. Because I literally let him brainwash me into pretty much believing he was the only person that cared about me and didn't know anybody else want or love me, and so it ended up being abusive. I had at 23. It was abusive. The first time he got taken was when she was 2.5, almost 3 years old. I literally let them scare me out of fighting for Rose. Is what happened. Yeah, I let them scare me out of fighting for my daughter.
Out of fighting for your daughter. Got it. Yes, they're very good at that.
And because they literally, they made me feel this big. They were like, how are you supposed to protect her and you can't even protect yourself? Yep. And then they brought up how I was a foster kid and grew up in CPS foster care, and how I had quote unquote mental health problems. And yes, I do struggle with depression, and yes, I have PTSD. But I mean, who wouldn't? Who's been beaten almost their whole life and abused and attacked? Right. But it didn't hinder me from caring for my kids. And so my ex ended up getting out of prison. He went to prison for a DV assault on me. And he ended up coming out of prison and getting custody of my daughter, our daughter, sorry. And when he got custody, I was in a bad place. I wasn't in a really, really bad place, but I mean, I was homeless. I was going through it. Didn't know, I couldn't get help from anybody. That's pretty much what he made sure of when we got together. That was his plan, was to isolate me from my family, brainwash me, and be dependent upon him for any and everything. I wasn't allowed to have a job, wasn't allowed to go out, have friends, wasn't allowed to make eye contact with any males. And then when he got custody back of Rose, he literally sought me out. He came and found me. I was in contact with his brother, my brother-in-law, all the time because, just because I have a very strong dislike for my soon-to-be ex-husband. My brother's never done anything to me. He's always been nice to me. He's always been helpful to me, my brother-in-law. And it's just like, so, we stayed in contact, at least me and my brother-in-law. And then I guess when he got out, he got custody of our daughter. His brother-in-law pretty much brought him to me. And the only reason I went back was because of my baby. Because I really did not, I did not want to go through that again. But
Yeah.
guess what? He had my daughter. So I went back.
Got it.
And no sooner as I get back, I must have messed around and got pregnant with our son. And I actually showed up one day. I had a bike accident because I was kind of in and out of the homelessness, and sometimes I'd stay over there with my kid and be there with her and get to spend time with her. And so who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want to be around their kid and be able to be in their life and stuff? And then of course they started again. And he literally, one day, I was in the bathtub with my son, giving us a bath, and her dad went to the store, and she was supposed to be in there in her room watching cartoons. And she literally snuck out of the house while I was in the shower, was in the bathtub with her baby brother, trying to give us a bath, and literally snuck out the house. And I'm getting out the shower and getting the baby dried off and getting dressed and stuff, and her dad comes in, and I'm like, she was in a room. He was like, she's not there now. And then he went and looked in our room, and she had taken her bike out of the closet because she was grounded. And she took her bike out of the closet and just left, and was all the way around the block, around the corner at her friend's house that she go to school with, which my brother-in-law was over there, but he didn't call and inform us that she was there. But needless to say, she shouldn't have been, at 6 years old, shouldn't have been leaving out the house by herself anyway.
Yeah.
And so I'm in full panic. I'm like in mommy mode. I'm knocking on neighbors' doors. I'm calling 911. Oh my God, I like to had a heart attack. And oh my God, full-fledged panic sank in. And I'm sitting there, I'm on the phone with the police. I'm like, she's 6 years old. I was like, she's very cute. I was like, oh my God, I hope ain't nobody snatched my babies. I'm like in frantic and tears. I'm just freaking out. I'm like trying to breathe and trying to make sure I don't have a panic attack. At the same time, trying to talk to the 911 operator. And then come to find out, she's around the corner, which his brother didn't call us and let us know that either. But anyway, when she got home, her dad whooped her. And when I say whooped, I don't mean whooped. I mean, when I say he took the belt and he literally left bruises from the top of the butt to down the back of the thigh with a belt. And I literally, I told him, I'm like, that's enough. And he was like, you can't tell me how to discipline my kid. You didn't fight for her. And he would hit her again with it. And I ran up on him and I grabbed the belt. And when I grabbed the belt, he turned around and socked it. And oh my God. Needless to say, my husband is almost 300 pounds and it's not all fat. It's mostly muscle. And like when I literally say he hit me just one time and I fell. I was sitting there seeing spots and stuff. It was all bad. But the neighbor ended up calling in a report. The police show up. When the police show up, I'm thinking they're gonna take Zip, or my ex-husband, and literally look at me and say, and I'm sitting here thinking, because I was on his Section 8. I wasn't on. Let me first say, I wasn't on his Section 8. It was his Section 8, and all the stuff was his. And then because I was gonna literally just have him arrested, but the first thing he came on about is talking about, oh, she has mental health disorders and she won't be able to care for the kids and by herself and all this just well, anyway, he ends up fighting it, taking it to trial, pleading guilty to it because, I mean, the GV assault of a minor, gets violated, gets sent back to Arkansas, where he is now, trying to fight for our kids. I'm trying to fight on my end. And even the CPS worker will tell you that terrified of him. And that's just like, I literally left, went all the way to New York, went to rehab because there was a 2-year waiting list here just to get into rehab. And so I left on my own recognizance. I did this by myself.
Sorry.
And while I'm at rehab, I'm having Skype visits with my kids. I'm getting to see them. I'm not getting to touch them or anything, but mommy's trying to make mommy better, you know?
Yeah.
And so I left, went to rehab, and I literally had one class left, and it was the relapse prevention. But other than that, I passed all my drug tests, and this had went on for I did this for like almost 5 months. Gave them clean UAs, was doing drug and alcohol classes, was doing my mental health, was doing the individual therapy with my drug counselor, was doing all this. Parenting classes. Before I ever left Washington State, I did the psych eval with the parenting component and passed it. And I did what I had to, and then she tried to throw the, oh, you abandoned your kid card in there. I was like, no, I didn't. Why do you think I had my attorney literally go to court and put in a motion so I could have Skype visits with my kids while I was there? Because at first I wasn't getting them. She tried to say, oh, you abandoned your kids and all this stuff. I'm like, no, that's not the case. But then I come back literally maybe a week before I had to go to court. And from New York back to Seattle. And I literally showed up in the Ken office where she works. And when I say, I didn't tell the lady at the front desk who it was. I was just like, can you see if Miss Peggy Hardy's here? Can you see if, can you tell her somebody needs to speak with her for a second? I wouldn't give my name. None of that. And when she walks out the front door to the waiting room, she had looked like she had seen a ghost. And I'm like, um, hello, Miss Jackson. I thought you were in New York. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm back. I was like, you thought I wasn't going to be back for court? Why? So you can throw me under the bus? It's not. I was like, no, that's not happening. I was like, I didn't do everything that I've done and done all the work that I've done for you to just throw me under the bus. But she literally said, well, let me begin by saying your kids are doing great. Marcus is getting so big and he's so smart. And Rosie is turning into a beautiful young lady. And the foster parents want to adopt your kid. And I'm going to push for it.
Wow.
Yeah. And at that point, it was either sock her in her throat or walk out of the building. And I walked out of the building. I had to go calm down. I couldn't even say anything to her. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go to jail. So I literally got up. I didn't even say anything else to her. I got up and just walked out. And just, I had to. For myself and for my kids, I had to.
Yeah.
And so I called her a week later. And I was like, how do I go about setting up visits with my kids? Because I have court order visits. She was like, yeah, but now they're not court ordered. They're like Skype visits. I'm like, well, I'm back in Washington State. How do I go about getting back my visitation? Because I was literally getting, my court order stated I was supposed to be getting 3 visits a week, 2 hours apiece. And before I left to go to rehab, I was getting them. No. And then she wanted to, like, I've been trying to contact her. She literally avoids me as much as possible. And then when she does verbally talk to me and not like in a message or something, when she verbally talks to me, I go back to that person that feels this. Like, it frustrates me a lot of times because I don't even know how to respond to her because she gets me in my emotions. And I'm like, you're messing with my kids. I grew up in foster care. My kids are my family. Okay. I was like, I grew up in that type of situation. That's why when the police showed up at my door, I kindly sat there and even had to I had to put my son's car seat in the cruiser, strap him down, put him in there. He's sitting there screaming. Oh my God, he was sitting there screaming. And the only thing I can remember is the police. I was like, I kissed her. I gave her a kiss and I gave her a hug. And then I walked around, kissed my son on his head. And at this point, I was so upset. I was shaking. And I looked at my daughter and I said, I don't care how hard and how long I have to fight. I'm going to fight for you. No matter what I gotta do, I'm fighting. And I said, I love you. And she says, I love you too, Mommy. And my son still sitting there screaming. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I close the door. And I look at the officer and I say, the CPS didn't even show up. It was just police. There wasn't even CPS. No, we got a phone call 2 days later from CPS. And I literally looked at the officer before he got in his cruiser and he looks at, I was like, please keep my baby safe. Please. And then he looked at me and said, are you going to be okay? And I looked at him and I said, I don't care. As long as my babies are okay, I'm okay. And my ex went through literally like almost, I want to say almost a year and a half trial, trying to fight these charges for the DV of assault on a minor.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm sitting here stuck, not knowing how to leave, how to go about leaving, because he's literally like kicked in doors and stuff of places where I've tried to run for safety when he was abusive to me, and literally like I didn't go through that again. And so I just dealt with it until he went to jail. And he literally kept me from, like, when I wanted to go to start my services, he wouldn't let me go start them. And if I was gone out of the motel room too long, he'd freak out on that. Where you been? Who you been with? All this retarded stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can't deal with this. So after he left, I that was the first time in my adult life I think I actually made a good decision for me. And I left and went to rehab. Left and went to rehab. No, let me rephrase that. I went and got a protection order on him first.
What were you in rehab for?
And then left and went to rehab. Can I be truthfully honest?
Yeah.
Marijuana.
Okay.
And it's legal. It's legal in this state. It's just like purchasing alcohol. It's recreationally legal. It's not federally legal, but it's in this state. It's legal. And I didn't smoke around my kids. They UA'd them when they got them in custody. They know that. But somehow, and then they tried to throw that at me. Is what they said was I was self-medicating with the marijuana for my mental illnesses. No, my actual PCP took me off my antidepressant and my mood stabilizer because I was having what they thought were atrial AFib attacks. And so my doctor took me off my meds. But believe it or not, I have been off my meds now for 2.5, almost 3 years. And I feel great. Yeah, I still deal with the depression because, I mean, who wouldn't? Because, I mean, you got my kids. But I haven't been suicidal. I haven't been trying to harm myself, talking about harming myself. I haven't threatened anybody. I haven't done any of these things. I've been managing it on my own. And, I mean, they want to talk about medication management. Like, I just recently got it because she sat there. We had court not even a week ago. We had court, and she tried to throw me under the bus again, me and my ex. And like that, now I know why. Because she kept asking me, "Are you in zipping my ex in contact?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't blocked on Facebook. There's a protection order in place, so why would I break it? Even though he's in another state, it's still there." I was like, I don't want nothing to do with it. I was like, I'm done. I'm done with that one. I was like, no, I can't do it anymore. And literally, it was like, recently, because I've been trying to contact her ever since I've been back from rehab. Phone, email, all this stuff. And she just recently tried to reach out to me. I've been back since, what? It's been almost 2 years, isn't it? No, it's something like that. It's been almost 2 years. And, like, it's just frustrating because I reach out to her, and then it took a while for somebody to, because I don't know what my last attorney said, but it made it to where didn't nobody want to take my case.
Yeah.
Because she had dropped my case while I was in New York in rehab. But she ended up dropping my case, and it took a while for me to get a public pretender to take my case. And finally, like maybe a week before court, I get a call from the Public Defenders Association here, and they assigned me an attorney like a week before court. So she don't know my case either. She has no information. And then what my CPS worker sent to her wasn't even my information. It was my ex's information as far as the psych eval results and all that stuff. It wasn't even my report. It was my ex's report. So I'm not sure if she intentionally did that on purpose. And then the day before court, she sends me the call-in number because we had to do it by phone. She sends me the call-in number and then the access code, and it's not even the right access code. They sent me to a totally different court. They had to look up my case and give me the number to call the access code to call in the right access code. And then finally, I've got her texting me talking about where are you at? We're in court. And I'm like, boy, if I could reach to this phone right now.
Yeah.
But oh my God, it was horrible. And then finally I got called into court. I don't know what I done missed. And finally, and then I'm sitting here because in dependency court you can't speak for yourself. Your attorney has to speak for you unless the judge directly is speaking to you, which really sucks. And it's like, and then she sat there, and we're not in actual court, it's over the phone. So, and then she literally got up there and straight full-fledged lied. Just, oh my God. She lied under oath, under penalty of perjury. She lied about not being in contact with me because I've been trying to be in contact with you. You never return calls. You never return emails. None of that stuff. And I got to dealing with they were going to see if the dad's program here would help me because I had a very unique story and what was happening to me. My mentor said, he was like, that's not right. And like ever since I made the choice to better myself and to fight for my kids, it's like it's harder. It's every time I jump through hoops, I got to jump through more hoops.
Yeah.
And the court order stated that all they originally wanted was 90 days clean, non-diluted UAs. The psych eval with the parents component, and DV counseling, which I did, and a parenting class. And I literally gave them 5 months intensive outpatient rehab, where I was doing classes, drug and alcohol classes, the therapy, the mental health therapy, the parenting classes. I was doing everything and some, and came back for her to just pretty much tell me that I'm not going to get my kids back. And I mean, I did what the court wanted me to do and some. But I have a meeting, as a matter of fact, I have a meeting this coming Thursday. And it's because the court hearing didn't go very well after she started sitting there lying on me, and I'm sitting there texting my attorney like, she's lying. I wanted to say it on the phone, but I'm like, no, they're gonna hold me in contempt and all this stuff. And like I had got so frustrated at the end because she was sitting there lying so, oh my God, she was lying so much. But the reason she had asked me why I was in contact with my ex was because she ain't been doing her job on either side, mine or his. She has been that was her plan off top when they took them, was to have them adopted out. Off top. Like they literally every which way have tried to block me and tried to do all this stuff. It's just like she said that she had sent in a referral for me to start my UAs and my visits again when I got back here. After I showed up in her office, But anytime I try to contact you, you haven't answered your phone. You haven't answered no emails. So how was I supposed to know that you had sent in a referral for me to do this stuff?
Right.
And anytime I call to try to talk to a supervisor, there's never a supervisor there. How is there never a supervisor there when I call?
I get it.
So she was, her plan was, she didn't think that I was going to come back from New York when I left to go to rehab. She did not believe that I was going to come back clean and sober, doing what I needed to do, and going to fight for my kids. She just thought that she had a win-win situation. And like, even here recently I've had well, I had court, but literally I've called her off multiple different phones, given her multiple different phone numbers that she can reach me at, including our house phone. I've called her on my roommate Kathy's phone, my friend Ken's phone, my phone. I have 2 phones that I've called her off of. And my email address. She just recently, like, actually started, because both me and my ex put her in court, put her on blast to the judge. I'm like, no, she's lying, because she ain't been trying to offer me my services, to start me in my services, give me the referrals I need. She has not done anything since I've been back until recently. And that's why, if I can get it to go, even though the case has been open for almost 3 years, they have to look at family first, right?
Yeah.
My aunt said she would take him, and she lives in Tennessee. She's my mom's sister. Her record is good. She's her two kids. Ooh, I know her youngest kid. Her daughter's 18, but she lives at home with her mom. And I mean, my mom has 2 jobs. She's a bartender, and she's a like an Uber type person out in Tennessee, where I'm originally from. And she has a clean record. She could pass anything they need her to pass. And so when I go to the meeting, me and my attorney had already agreed that we're gonna put that on the table. And my attorney said that if they don't agree to the ICPC to put it in motion, we can go to the court and do it. At least until I can get. I'd rather have them with family placement than in CPS foster care, because they're literally trying to steal my kids. They're literally talking about the foster parents want to adopt your kids. No, they're mine. They're not theirs. They got kids. Let them keep their kids. I want my kids. I didn't do all this work and put in all this time for you to sit here and tell me I can't have my kids back.
Right.
It's just like I told my attorney, and I don't care what else I got to jump through and what other hoops I need to jump through, I will jump through them. But I want my kids back. I didn't sit there and carry them for 9 months to give birth to them for somebody else to raise.
Exactly.
Those are my babies. It's my family. And it's just frustrating. It's frustrating. And I just don't know. And it's like every time I get up there a couple steps, she puts another brick wall in front of me, and I just run right into it. I'm like, no. And like she is so against me, it's retarded. The CPS worker, we had the first one fired for breaking the HIPAA law, for sending an unsecured text with sensitive information in it, just the regular text. And so she broke the HIPAA law, and we got her fired. So this CPS worker has had it out for us from jump.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm and it's just like I told my daughter, I don't care how long I gotta fight. I'm fighting, and I mean, I've been fighting, and I'm still fighting, and I will fight some more if I have to. And I'm just trying to. I don't understand it. I don't get why, and then I don't even know why he is in the picture in the first place, because he's the abuser. And that's just like, he said at court the other day, he got so frustrated. He was like, he even stated on for the record, in court, okay, he was like, well, you know what? He was like, I'm tired. I was like, he was like, if you want them, y'all can keep them. I'm like, are you? And my lawyer's like, Brady, shut up. And I'm like, you know what? That might have just helped me. If you want to give up, give up.
Yeah.
That just helped. But now she's saying that we're both gonna have a meeting, but they're separate. What is that? Why are they separate? Our kids are our kids. So if we got to be together in court too, why can't I hear what you're saying to this man? And why can't he hear what you're saying to me? That's
Right.
why you kept asking me in the beginning why if we were in contact with each other, because you were trying to put both of us out of our kid. You know?
Yeah.
Just I don't know. Just frustrating. But I'm gonna keep fighting
Good.
and keep fighting. Those are my babies, and the one thing in this world that mean the most to me.
Important thing ever.
And they can't have them. They're mine. They're mine.
Agreed. Don't stop fighting. Don't stop fighting. I hope this helped telling your story.
I was the oldest out of 7 kids.
Wow.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for letting me share.
Yeah. Where are they together? Your kids, are they together?
They got them separated. They see each other on the weekends and stuff. But no, there were 2 different foster families. And
Wow.
from what my CPS worker is saying, both foster families want to adopt my kids. Which, I mean, I know they've had them for almost 3 years, regardless of the fact. But I mean, I still have my rights. You haven't terminated my rights, and I'm fighting, and I'm doing, and I'm pushing forward, and I don't understand why. Why, period.
Yeah.
Just
It doesn't
why?
make sense.
No. But thank you so much.
I'm really sorry.
Because I mean, and who knows how many parents actually had to go through this.
A lot. A lot.
Like,
And people don't realize it. They don't understand this. It's also a pandemic. And it's everywhere.
yeah.
You know?
At least one thing I can say, as far as I'm aware, because I got at least one of the foster parents I got to know really pretty intimately, because my son had to have surgery. He had a hydrocele, a hernia with a hydrocele in his left testy.
Yeah.
And he had to go through surgery. And I literally, I was freaking scared. Scared to death. Oh my God, I was terrified. And but I was literally the one. I was sitting there consoling his foster mama, talking about, that's my son. He's strong. He's got me in him. He's strong. He's resilient. He's gonna be okay. And I was sitting there, she's crying on my shoulder, and I'm like, he's going to be okay. I promise you he's going to be okay.
Wow.
Sitting there praying for him. And he was okay. And he was okay. And, I mean, it takes a big person to have to sit there and have to console somebody else about my kid. Oh,
Trust me, I know that.
most terrifying time of my life.
I bet. Does she keep in touch with you?
No, that's the thing. I mean, and that's been the thing. For some odd reason, the foster parents ain't never had communication with me as far as like that. Anything that I have that the foster parents want to, unless like they used to show up at visits every once in a while to bring them to the visits and stuff, and they'd say hi or something, or inform me of something that was going on or something like that. But like that ended very abruptly, and then it was just, I don't know. But yeah, excuse me. But yeah, it's just hectic. And oh my god, I've like been having since court. I've maybe gotten court was what, Tuesday, and I've probably gotten maybe 24, maybe not even 24 hours of sleep since then. All the way together for Monday. It's just been frantic, and I'm terrified, and I'm praying that even if they don't go through with the ICPC, I can take it to court and they can have it made to go through, so I can send my kids to Tennessee, because that would be a blessing in itself. Because I'd rather them be in family placement than with, and technically since they've been there that long, they're not strangers to them anymore, you know.
Right.
But I mean, I haven't, like I said, I didn't put in all this work and do everything you're asking me to do just so you can take my kids anyway. And I'm gonna keep doing and keep jumping, and they say jump, I'm gonna say how high until I can get them back. And that's all I can do.
Good for you. Well, I want an update because I really hope you get your kids back.
Okay. Like I said, I have a meeting come next Thursday. I have a meeting with CPS and the attorneys and everybody, so I can get my whatever services they want me to start back doing set up, and my visits set up. So at least I'm going to be able to get to see them, which is a blessing.
That's great. Well, I thank you for coming on here and sharing. I'm so glad that you're
Thank y'all
fighting.
for listening.
Glad that you're fighting for the kids and not giving up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I can do. I can't give up on my babies. My daughter pretty much saved my life. I was going down a really dark path when I got pregnant with my oldest. Was addicted to hardcore drugs and was not a very nice person.
Yeah,
And then I got clean and sober the first time.
that's awesome.
So, yeah,
Well, again, I thank you for coming on and sharing, and I hope you have an amazing day.
thank you. You too.
My son wants to say goodbye to you.
Bye.
Bye, love. He's a cutie pie.
He's a love bug.
How old is he?
He's going to be 8 in
September 7th. And I'm 7 right now.
Okay. No. I miss that.
I know, I did too. I
I
did
miss
too.
that a lot.
It was hard.
This is my cat Shadow. He's
I used to have a cat named
a
Shadow.
black cat. Look at him. Okay.
He's pretty though.
He's a pain in the butt.
Yeah. Every day he has to lay on anything he can break, literally.
Oh, he's so gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm sure yours is too, a mama's boy, where they just want mama all the time. And
Well, at first, yeah. But he got taken at such an early age, he don't even know who I am now because of the lack of visitation and dealing with the stuff that I've been dealing with. It's just he literally don't even know who I am, and I literally sped him.
so did I. And let me tell you, it comes back because we
Doesn't-
lost that too. We lost the connection. My mother, who had him, told him that he came from her. And so when I would call him a mama's boy, he'd be like, no, I don't, I'm not yours. They referred to me as a sister instead of their mother.
Oh
We
wow!
lost. So we prayed for it. We worked very hard on our relationship, and it came back to where I'm his mom, and he knows that. And he knows he can lean on me and have me there, and he cuddles me again. He does all the things, but it was gone. So it can absolutely be worked on and come back. It was very hard.
I think no.
They were both of my kids were physically abusive to me, wailing on me out of anger. And I'm like, oh my gosh, who are you? And what did you do with my kids?
Yeah.
So I'm going to be praying for you.
Thank you.
Let me know what happens, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Most definitely.
All right.
Bye.
I hope you have an amazing day.
Me too.
All right. Bye.